Update. Am I the a-hole for ghosting my girlfriend after she nearly killed both of us? Original post. So my girlfriend 20 female and I 22 male have been together for a little over 10 months now. We haven't had any heated arguments or fights, except for the fact that she keeps tickling me randomly, despite the fact that I've already told her to never do it again because I can act strangely to it, something from my childhood which I won't delve into. Now, to get to the current situation. This week I've had my car returned from a paint job and some major look changes. And I was really satisfied with the results, so I took a day off from work and took my girlfriend on a short trip outside the city. We drove to a lake, ate some food and relaxed for a couple of hours until it got pretty dark and we decided to head back home to get some sleep, as I had to go to work the next day and she had an exam. On the way home, I started talking about how happy I felt with how the paint job turned out, and out of nowhere, she starts tickling me. I pushed her hand away and told her to stop. Then she reached for my ribs with both hands and got me swerving off the road. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, although my car got some deep scratches, but that doesn't even matter anymore, as I already slowed down after her first attempt to tickle me. I'll admit that I told her, "What the heck is wrong with you?" as soon as we stepped out of the car, and she started crying, but I couldn't care less as I felt as if my veins were about to pop. When we got home, I told her to pack her things and go to her best friend. But she threw a tantrum and begged me to forgive her for a little mistake. I didn't say a word. I simply stared in disgust and pointed to her luggage. After her friend picked her up, I tried to go to sleep but my mind was racing, so I barely got any rest. This happened on Tuesday, and she's been blowing up my phone ever since, but I haven't answered any calls or texts and just blocked her. This led to her friend coming to my house and telling me to at least hear my girlfriend out. But I've told her to F off and leave me alone, which made her tell me that I'm more in love with the car than my girlfriend. So am I the a-hole in this situation? Should I talk to my girlfriend? I already feel like I can't trust her after what happened and that our relationship can't be fixed. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I would say you're more in love with being alive than being with your girlfriend. Not the a-hole, it's 10 months, not 10 years. My teenage kid and I leg punch or elbow rib each other all the time. Except of course when I drive. There was no need to explain that to even him. Not the a-hole. My family has a rule. The moment someone says no or stop, you stop. We also don't hit, yell, or curse at each other. Physical boundaries should always be respected. I had to learn that the hard way. Hopefully my children won't. This really should be everybody's rule. No always means no. Not the a-hole. She's a freaking idiot. It wasn't just a little mistake. You don't mess with someone while they're driving, period. You've also told her time and time again not to tickle you, and she refuses to respect that boundary, to the point of putting you and everyone on the road around you in danger. She can buzz right off in my opinion. Who starts randomly tickling a driver? This is insane. I did this to my father when I was bored on a long road trip when I was about 5 years old. He pulled over and gave me a very stern lecture on how you never mess with someone driving a vehicle, how dangerous it is, etc. I was super ashamed and learned a valuable lesson that day. This girl is 20 and doesn't get it? What a moron! There was a case years ago in New Jersey, I think. A few young people, college age, driving home from the beach. The driver wore just a bikini top, and the guy sitting behind her thought it was funny to pull on the strings behind her neck. Her bikini fell open. She reflexively grabbed at the cups and wrecked the car. Several people dead, including the dumbass behind her. Now for the update. Now to the actual update. After reading nearly all the comments, I took the decision to send my ex a message where I told her we should meet face to face. Some people suggested that I should file for a lawsuit, but my ex is still in uni and her parents can barely afford helping her. She obviously has done an insanely dumb stunt, but I don't want to punish her parents for it. The car is in the process of getting fixed and I can afford it without major financial issues. Still, I took screenshots of her messages in order for me to have some proof in case the situation escalates. We met earlier at a coffee shop. She looked as if she's been crying for a long time, but it didn't change my mind at all. What shocked me was the fact that she leaned in for a kiss when she saw me, as if nothing happened. I stopped her and told her that we need to have a serious conversation. I explained that what happened wasn't because of the car itself, but because of her disrespecting my boundaries and not thinking for a second about what might happen if she did that thing. Besides that, I also felt disrespected by the fact that her best friend came knocking at my door to demand things despite not having any rights to do so, which led me to ask my ex if she told her best friend the truth, or if she lied about the situation. She said that she only told her friend that we had a small car crash and that I'm mad at her. Hearing that made me feel disappointed as heck, but I did my best to remain calm. I told her to tell the real story to her friends and family, and she raised her voice and told me that I'm accusing her of being a liar, something that led to a 15-minute discussion about how the crash was solely her fault and how she put our lives at risk. I asked her if everything's clear to her about our situation, and her response was, "Yep, 100%. Can we go home now?" That honestly shocked me. I told her that there's no way we can be back together, and I suggested she should be more careful and considerate with her future partner. Her reaction was all tears, shaking, begging me to reconsider my decision, but I just can't look at her the same. I explained again that for me, it wasn't a small mistake she made. It was a full-on stupid decision that shouldn't be done by an adult, as it could have resulted in something deadly. She just thinks I'm exaggerating, and this back-and-forth argument led to her asking if there's someone else in my life and I'm just using the accident as an excuse. I denied and told her that she's too selfish to even realize that she broke my trust and disrespects me by saying this crap. I left the coffee shop feeling like I've been talking to a wall, but at least I can't say that I didn't try to have a conversation. An hour ago, her mom texted me asking what happened, and I told her everything. I said that I don't want any money from them, but the only thing I'm asking is for my ex to keep distance from me. She apologized for what her daughter did and wished me all the best. As for her friend, from my understanding, she just came to my house without talking with my ex and whether she should do it or not. So I guess she just tried to be the main character in this whole story. Right now, I'm preparing for work, but my chest isn't heavy anymore. In case anything will happen in the future, I'll keep everyone updated, but I hope it won't be the case. Lol. Thank you for helping me navigate this weird situation, and thanks for all the kind messages. Hope everyone stays safe. Sorry if this wasn't the drama-filled update some people might have expected, but I came here with a desire to get some perspective in my situation and be as transparent as possible. Boundary issues aside, which is also a huge red flag, tickling someone while operating a vehicle in my humble opinion is ridiculous and stupid. You're better off, and I hope she continues to keep her distance. Make sure to change any passwords she may know of yours. Yeah, the fact that it's still not clicking with her that she could have killed both of them is a much bigger red flag. You'd think she was actively trying to just not listen or get it through her head, like Jesus. My ex-wife exhibited this behavior. OP was right to leave. This woman has a deeply flawed worldview and it's only going to get worse and more dangerous the older she gets. If anyone who is reading this has the same problem as OP's ex, you better take this next statement to heart. If you can't listen to other people and consider their feelings or respect their boundaries, and you're not willing to develop self-awareness and seek mental health help for your severe behavioral issue, you can expect for every single one of your personal relationships to end in disastrous failures. Your life will be a nightmare unless you actually put in the hard work to overcome this. You made a right call. Sounds like nothing was really registering with her. It's one thing to make a mistake and be completely apologetic and learn from it, but from your description, I don't think she was gonna learn anything. I'm glad her mother and him had a chance to talk. She sounds reasonable, unlike the daughter. Sounds like mom knows her daughter too. Probably heard OP's story and was like, yep, sounds like daughter, sigh. Good for you. She's not even mature enough for a relationship if she can't even take accountability for her own actions. That "can we go home now" was crazy to me. She has the mind of a child. Couldn't even fathom the idea of him not wanting to be with her after not only stomping on a previously placed firm boundary, but also could have resulted in serious injury or death. I hope someone shows her these threads, but then again, who knows if she's even capable of self-reflection. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying I'll just happily date younger versus dating single parents? I, 33 male, somewhat recently became single after a 4-year relationship ended. Since then, I haven't been too aggressive about getting back out there. But 3 months ago, I downloaded Hinge and have had some convos and took a few women out for drinks, couple casual flings, but nothing serious so far. This past weekend, I was hanging out with some friends, and they asked me if I was dating again yet, and I told them what I said above. They were asking about how things have changed since I was last single, and one thing I mentioned was just that a lot more of the people my age were now parents, so avoiding that is harder, and I have to get used to a bigger age range to date. Whereas before, every relationship I've had we've been the same age. My friend Mandy, 32, who is separated from her husband and has 2 kids, seemed offended by it and asked me to elaborate. I told her, well, basically now I've changed up my range to 26 to 33, where before I would have kept it to maybe 1 to 2 years. She told me this was shallow and that 26-year-olds don't want to date someone like me anyway, and I should just suck it up and realize there's nothing wrong with being a stepdad. I have nothing against single moms. This isn't one of those posts, but I was just like, nah, I've had no issue with matching and getting younger women to want to go out with me. Nothing against single parents, but I'll happily just date younger since I don't want to sign up for that. She seemed mad and was short with me the rest of the day that we were all hanging out. Later on, our mutual friend Dan, whose wife is good friends with Mandy, told me that she told his wife that I was being an a-hole, and that my whole attitude is awful. Am I really the a-hole for that? I wasn't putting down single parents at all. I was raised by a single mom and have a ton of respect for them. It's just not what I'm looking for. And it hasn't been difficult so far avoiding the situation. Now for the top comments. She told me I should just suck it up and realize there's nothing wrong with being a stepdad. There's nothing wrong with being a stepdad if you're looking to be a stepdad. I'm not looking to be a stepdad. But there's nothing wrong with being a fireman, for example, either, if you want to be one. But if you don't... Exactly. Not the a-hole. Being a step-parent can be really hard. It's okay not to want to sign up for that. I had crappy step-parents. I love people who are self-aware enough to know they don't want to do it, so they don't date single parents. That's amazing. Speaking for stepchildren everywhere, thank you for staying away from our parents. We only want you if you want us. From the title, I expected you date super young, like 18 to 20. Your friend is delusional and insecure, not the a-hole. She didn't strike me as delusional, insecure perhaps, but mostly as someone projecting her feelings and harder time dating on him. Nothing wrong with not liking his stance on it, but she doesn't have the right to demand he changes his dating criteria to fit something he's not comfortable with. It's not like he has kids himself and rejects single mothers. Honestly, even if he did have kids, he's entitled to date whom he wants. That being said, no child-free/less woman would be forced to want him back. That's how it goes for all of us. Not the a-hole. Your friend is insecure. You're allowed to have preference, especially when you don't want to be raising someone else's kids. It's crazy how offended people get by one not wanting to date someone who has another man's kids. No one's obligated to be accountable for that. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not helping my husband with his children more? When my husband, 35 male and I, 30 female, met, he insisted that he was not looking for a mother for his children. He said his kids have 2 parents, and he'd only want someone who can be a positive role model to his kids, who would treat them well. I never wanted children of my own, but I like children, so I agreed. We dated, got married, and I let them move into the home I own outright. We have been married for the last 2 years. My husband's ex-wife has had 2 additional children since we got together, and she hasn't really been a great mother to their shared children. My husband and his ex-wife have 3 children together. I work a lot, and in my spare time I like to go to the gym or hang out with my friends. My husband has been complaining lately that I don't watch his kids for him often enough, so he can have some free time too. His ex-wife has given him almost full custody because she's too busy with her new babies. He also wants me to start cooking for the kids and not just myself, and doing their laundry, driving them to school, etc. This is all kind of coming out of left field for me. I'm not allowed to discipline the kids at all, and he made it clear when we got together that I was not to be a mother figure in any way. I already let them live in my house for free, saving my husband roughly $24,000 a year that he was paying in rent before. So not only does he want me to provide financially, but also do the sucky parts of parenting. With no reward? We have a strong prenup, and I'm honestly considering using that. Well, if he's saving money by living with you, he could hire a babysitter to help him. He probably could if he was better with his finances. He doesn't make a lot of money and is kind of bad with the money that he does have. It's not his best quality. What were the good qualities he brought to the relationship? Are any of those still present in him, or has he completely turned into a whining mooch? He is the fun dad, so he was probably the fun boyfriend. Date, road trips, gifts, even tasks like cooking. They were probably cooking fun and romantic meals together. They get married and things get real. He'd always sent his kids back to wife with dirty clothes, but I'd have to go to the laundromat. X now whines, you have a house and appliances, you do it. He always took the kids for pizza and McDonald's. Now X comments, you have a kitchen. He doesn't want to buy toothpaste and toilet paper. He doesn't want to make peanut butter sandwiches. He wants to be fun. Color me shocked he has an ex-wife. Used to prenup. His ex has her do-over kids, and now he wants you to pick up her slack. Let him figure everything out on his own. He probably already has another victim on the back burner he can go and cry to. He seems the type to do whatever he needs to avoid what he doesn't want to do. My guess is she's someone he works with and is in her early 20s. That was my thought exactly. He will be looking for some strange because wifey's so mean to him. Not the a-hole. Remind him that he told you he wasn't looking for another mother for his children, and you have no interest in being their maid. He can use some of the $24K he is saving to pay for childcare if he wants some free time, or he can leave. Those are his only options here. If he keeps making digs and trying to force you to sacrifice your time off so he can have some for free, then remove the first option and just tell him to leave. But have this conversation away from home or when the kids are gone. They don't need to hear it. They've been through enough. Yeah, I feel bad for those kids. They seem to have a mediocre father and an absentee mother. Poor kids.